Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Ian, and today I'm bringing you another graded card video. Today this is going to cover a couple of submissions, my last 10 and 20 day, and then also a 2-day submission that I had done as well for a card that I'm pretty excited about. So today we're just going to be covering over some Dragon Ball Z cards and Yu Yu Hakusho. There's no Pokemon in this one. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. Let's do the Dragon Ball Z stuff first. So some of the things that I started getting graded, I recently managed to get the GKI Ultra Rare reprint set. I managed to obtain all of them. So I'm going to start getting those graded, or have started getting some graded. So my first batch that I had to kick things off was the Goku the Unbeatable. So this is from the Trunk Saga Ultra Rare. And this came in at a mint 9, with the centering corners at 9, the edges at 9.5, and the surface at a 10. I'm very happy about the surface. Usually for me, surface is the most important thing on my cards that I care about. So I was glad to see this one get a 10. Then moving on, so we have the next 9, which is Trunks the Battler from the Cell Game Saga Ultra Rare. And this one came in at a mint 9 as well. The centering was a 9.5, and then all the other 3 categories were a 9. So, very cool looking card. And continuing with Cell Games, going right into the 9.5s, we have Piccolo the Defender, who came in at a Gem Mint 9.5, so the centering, edges, and surface were 9.5, and the corners were a 9. So pretty happy to get this one at 9.5 as well. And then going back a set to Cell Saga, we have the Vegeta the Revitalized 9.5 Gem Mint. And this one had some really strong grades. The centering and corners were 9.5, the edges were 9, and the surface was a perfect 10. So very cool. One of the more sought after Vegeta cards in the as far as ultra rares go. So I was glad to get this in a 9.5. We finally broke in the 9.5 bar with the submission for Dragon Ball Z cards. So I was glad to see that. And then the last GKI Ultra Rare that I had was also from Cell Saga, which is Goku the All-Powerful. And this also came in at a Gem Mint 9.5 and had the exact same grades as the Vegeta, with a 9.5, 9.5 on the centering and corners, 9 on the edges, and a 10 on the surface. So very strong grades on this Goku. So I was very happy to get this as a 9.5, since I have the other one from the actual Cell Saga set as a 9. So the next Dragon Ball Z card is a scoring zone promo, and pretty well known throughout the community as Victorious. This one came in at a mint 9, with the centering at a 9.5, corners at a 9, the edges were at an 8.5, and the surface was a perfect 10. So very glad to see that. I have one other Dragon Ball Z card. I'm going to wait to show that one at the end with my one of the Hakusho cards that I have, just because they're probably the most higher end cards that I have. So we'll jump to the Hakusho cards that I had graded. So the next 4 are all together because they are a King set, as I mentioned in a previous video. So the King I decided to get graded first was Ryzen. And so the top 2 pieces came in at a 9. The Ghost Rare was had a centering of 9. The corners and the surface were also 9, and the edges were 9.5. And then the top right had the centering at a 9.5, and then everything else was a 9. And then the bottom 2 pieces also were 9. So my entire King set is a 9. So pretty happy about that, especially since it was an Alliance King set. I mean, these cards are so hard to find, especially in pretty good shape. So, and these had fairly similar grades. They both had 8.5 on the surface as the lowest grade. The centering was a 9.5 on both. The corners on the bottom left was 9.5. The corners on the bottom right were a 9, and then the edges were 9.5 on the left and 9 on the right. So, but yeah, overall very cool to finally get this one graded. I'm going to continue getting all my Hakusho cards graded at a slow but steady pace, and probably start working on the other king sets here soon. So the next two cards are some very valuable promos and score employee cards. So the first one, I managed to get a hold of one of these a couple weeks back, and it is a World Champion Punch. This one came in at an 8.5. The centering, corners, and edges were all a 9. The surface was an 8. I knew going into it the surface was bad. As soon as I got it in the mail, I was kind of bummed that the surface was bad, but can't really do much about that. Everything else is pretty good, and this card's so rare now. I was happy to at least get it at an 8.5. And then the last card, and something I'm very, very thrilled to have, I managed to get this off eBay, I don't know, like 2.5 weeks ago. And it was maybe on there for about 2 hours until I managed to just happen upon it when I was looking through. And it is a Score Employee Unsigned Dark One. There are not very many of these around. They aren't really supposed to be out there. So there's only one other one that I know of. And both, I got this one from a guy in Australia, and the other one that I know of is also in Australia. This one came in at a mint 9. The centering was a perfect 10. I think most dark ones were cut properly, so that's good. The corners were a 9.5, the edges were a 9, and the surface was an 8.5. Yeah, I knew the surface was kind of bad on this one too. It had some speckles and everything on it, but everything else was pretty strong as far as the grades. So very happy about this card, especially to have an unsigned one. It throws me off every time when I look at it now, because I'm so used to seeing them with signatures on them. So it's very unique and very cool to have. But yeah, guys, so that does it for this submission. This is probably the most expensive submission that I've done so far as card values go, especially with the Champ Punch and an Unsigned Dark one in here. But yeah, I did manage to, I dropped off more cards last week. I think they were a 10-day submission. I dropped off a few for Dragon Ball Z, and then I'll probably try and drop off some more this week for Hakusho as well. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or like what you see, feel free to comment or message me. Other than that, have a great day.